President Paul Mashatile is expected to wrap up the two-day national dialogue on coalition governments being held in Cape Town today. Yesterday, political parties expressed their concerns about coalition instability in local government. The National Freedom Party warned that unless politics are separated from administration, coalition governments simply won't work. However, the African Christian Democratic Party has suggested that legislation to maintain law and order must be implemented. All parties have agreed, though, that the main goal is to serve the interests of South Africans. Let's get you a sense of how this has all unfolded. Athi Mtongana is part of our team that's been following developments, and she joins us now live from Cape Town. And as you, of course, the success of an event like this will be measured against implementable resolutions that are delivered at the back of it.
That's correct, Ayanda. In fact, what is to be noted here is that certainly political parties may differ in their approaches and how to tackle issues related to coalition alliances, as well as the electoral threshold, which is one of the bone of contentions at which political parties seem to have different views about. But they certainly then do agree on the fact that coalitions need to be regulated in South Africa, given the developments in some of the municipalities and some of the areas, particularly in the country, where you've seen the instability of coalitions. I want to bring in SALGA then to talk about the coalitions that are working at some parts of the country, because one of those remarks which we've heard from the floor is the fact that the coalitions that are working are not being highlighted. Perhaps let's get a view from SALGA about those that are working.
Thank you very much, and greetings to your listeners and to have us. Yes, looking into the period of time since the 2021 local government elections in South Africa, it produced 82 coalition governments. Out of the 82 coalition government, 50 of them are functioning well, and 32 of them are not functioning well. Unfortunately, in the 32, your key economic centers, which is the hub of economic activities, which is metros in the Republic, majority of them, they are not in good function, and therefore, as you know, that over 60% of economy, it resides in those areas. And therefore, that is why we believe we fully support the initiative made by the Deputy President. In fact, Deputy President is responding to SALGA's input in the SONA that was delivered in February. We made a point in that SONA that it is time that South Africa and Parliament of the Republic, including the executive led by the President, to take time and deal with the issues of coalition, including considering matters of reviewing Section 12 notice and or framework that it must be adopted to work coalition to function.
Mr. Stofile, you mentioned the metros where there's instability insofar as coalitions, and yesterday we spoke to the Federal Council chairperson of the DA saying, well, coalitions are not a new thing in South Africa. She dates back some couple of years ago, around 1994, where she was involved, and this then brings to the fore of whether those municipalities where coalitions are working and where there's stability, why cannot that be used as a model? I know there are other countries here which have been invited to also shed light on how they are moving forward with regards to coalitions. But what can be done then to those key crucial ones in the metro where instability is arising?
As I've said inside during the debate in the panel, yes, in the 50 that you're talking about, that you are saying are stable, they have their own problems. And I was making an example, for instance, inside in the discussion. Problems differ. To them, to maintain stable coalition, it comes with cost. And a cost, it means money that's supposed to go to public, it is used to manage the coalition relations. So, yes, part of that is the ability of those coalition partners to implement what we, together with the Dula Omar Institute, develop in terms of framework. If you look into their functional, how they function, it's based on the few bases that made them to function. One of the reasons for them to function is to have some level of trust and working together with a shared objective in making sure that service delivery is rendered to communities. As local government, part of its bigger responsibility is a service delivery. It's not about politicking. And it's about how to use instruments and resources that are allocated to render service. And yes, of course, as I've said, different political parties contest elections and thereby elect individuals into office. But council, it is responsible to deliver service in a form of coalition, in a form of whatever party that wins the elections, but ultimate end, it must deliver service to communities. And that is why we are saying, after their agreement, communities, because the law says municipalities is three-legged pot, is council, is administration, is community. And that is why it's the only sphere of government in the three spheres that is mandated by law that a mayor of a municipality must develop an IDP in consultation with the community, including budgeting of that process.
Mr. Stofile, I do thank you so much for your time. I'm quickly going to bring in the leader of the Democratic Alliance. I'm sure I'm running out of time, John, but I'm just quickly going to throw this question and this claim that has been made by the smaller political parties of this grand marriage and a coalition alliance plan between the ANC and the DA.
It's absolute nonsense. I've been very clear since our April conference that the DA's goal is to build an opposition majority that will be able to unseat the ANC next year. That is the entire philosophy behind the Moonshot Pact, bringing opposition parties together to build an alternative to the ANC, not to keep the ANC in power. So people like Mr. Holomisa and others must stop trying to marry my party off in some sort of arranged marriage when we're an absolutely reluctant bride, and that is not our objective. We want to build a new majority in South Africa that's going to sweep the ANC out of office and usher in a new era of hope and prosperity for our country, and that is the DA's sole focus for the next 15 months, and certainly going into our Moonshot Convention on the 16th and 17th of August is going to lay the groundwork, chaired by Professor William Gumede, for us to build this new framework, to build this new majority in South Africa.
I'd love to continue the conversation, but I'm sure I'm running out of time. Ayanda, back to you in studio.
Athi Mtongana live to us there from Cape Town. Thanks very much indeed.